Have you ever wondered how boys around the world differ in their personal habits? We're not just talking about how culture shapes behavior, but also how individual choices come into play. Imagine the diverse spectrum of habits, from the daily routines to those more private moments. Today we're going to delve into a topic that's often swept under the rug, yet is a universal part of growing up. So, buckle up and stay tuned to find out how boys from different parts of the world vary in their personal habits. Habits, as we know, are a part of our daily routine. These are the actions that we perform so regularly they become second nature. We don't even have to think about them. They're like the background music to our lives, always playing, often unnoticed. Now, habits aren't just about biting your nails or always having a cup of coffee in the morning. They're much deeper than that. They shape our lives, they define who we are, and they play a significant role in our health, happiness, and overall well-being. Think about it, our habits dictate what we do when we wake up, how we interact with others, even how we perceive the world around us. They're the building blocks of our daily existence. But where do these habits come from? Well, they're influenced by a myriad of factors. Your culture, for instance, plays a huge role. It sets certain norms and expectations that we often adopt as our own habits. Then there's your environment. The people and places around us can shape our habits in profound ways. Ever noticed how you pick up phrases or mannerisms from your friends? That's your environment influencing your habits. And of course, let's not forget upbringing. Our parents, our teachers, our role models, they all instill in us certain habits from a very early age. So habits are deeply ingrained in us, shaped by our culture, environment, and upbringing. Now that we understand the importance of habits, let's dive into our main topic, starting with the boys in America. In a country as vast and diverse as the United States, the habits and trends among boys can vary significantly. From the East Coast to the West, from the heartland to the deep South, the cultural, socio-economic, and environmental factors all play a crucial role in shaping the habits of boys. In the urbanized areas of the coastal states, boys are often found to be more tech-savvy. They spend considerable time on digital platforms, engaging in social media, online gaming, and other forms of digital entertainment. This is predominantly due to the high accessibility and prevalence of technology in these regions. On the other hand, boys in the more rural areas of the Midwest and the South tend to engage more in outdoor activities. They often grow up with a stronger affinity for sports, hunting, and fishing. The availability of open spaces, the cultural emphasis on outdoor living, and lesser reliance on technology contribute to these habits. Now, let's not forget about the influence of socioeconomic factors. In affluent neighborhoods, boys have access to a wide range of resources and opportunities, from participating in organized sports to attending tech camps. They are encouraged to develop a diverse set of skills and hobbies. However, in less privileged areas, boys might be limited to fewer activities, often needing to work part-time jobs or help out at home. Furthermore, the influence of the local community and the prevalent cultural norms cannot be overlooked. In many places, the local community centers, churches, or schools are the main hubs of activity for boys, shaping their interests and habits. In conclusion, it's clear that the habits of boys in America are a complex interplay of various factors. The region they live in, their socioeconomic status, and the influence of their local community all contribute to the habits they develop. While there are some commonalities, the diversity is striking, reflecting the multifaceted nature of American society. That was a glimpse into the life of boys in America. Now on to the next country. Moving on to the boys in Asia. Asia, the largest and most diverse continent on our planet, is home to a multitude of cultures, religions, and lifestyles. Boys in this part of the world are no different when it comes to the exploration of their bodies and sexuality. In East Asian countries like Japan, China, and South Korea, societal norms and expectations play a significant role in shaping the habits of boys. There's a strong emphasis on discipline, modesty, and respect for others. These values often translate into a more private and personal approach to self-exploration. Boys in these regions might not openly discuss or admit to their habits, but that doesn't mean they're not partaking in the act. On the other end of the spectrum, you have South Asian nations like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. Here, the societal norms are somewhat different. While the act of self-exploration is still considered taboo, the advent of the internet and increasing access to information has led to a shift in attitudes. Boys in these regions are slowly becoming more open to discussing and understanding their bodies. The Southeast Asian region strikes a balance between these two extremes. Countries like Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines have a more relaxed approach to discussing sexuality. Boys in these parts are often more open about their habits, and there's less stigma attached to the act. It's important to remember that these habits are influenced by a variety of factors. The culture, societal norms, education, and access to information all play a crucial role. Similarly, the age at which boys start exploring their bodies can vary greatly, further highlighting the diversity and complexity of this topic. In the end, it's safe to say that boys in Asia, much like boys everywhere, are exploring their bodies and their sexuality. It's a natural part of growing up, and the ways in which they approach this can provide us with a fascinating look into the diverse cultures of Asia. That's what the boys in Asia are up to. Now let's take a look at Europe. Next stop, Europe. As we journey across the globe, our next destination brings us to the diverse and culturally rich continent of Europe. Here, the habits of boys vary greatly from country to country, painting a fascinating picture of the influence of culture, society, and lifestyle. In the Scandinavian countries, for instance, the boys are typically introduced to independence at an early age. This culture of self-reliance is reflected in their habits, whether it's helping out with household chores or spending time in nature to foster a love for the environment. Meanwhile, in the Mediterranean countries like Italy, Spain, and Greece, boys are often seen embracing their communal culture. You'll find them engaging in group activities, whether it's playing football in the local square or enjoying long, leisurely meals with friends and family. This sense of community plays a huge role in shaping their habits and behaviors. Now let's shift our focus to the Eastern European countries. Here you'll find a blend of tradition and modernity. Boys often juggle between adhering to age-old customs and adapting to the fast-paced digital world. This balance between the old and the new creates a unique set of habits. But what influences these habits? A variety of factors come into play, including cultural norms, societal expectations, and individual personalities. In Europe, boys are encouraged to explore their interests, pursue their passions, and express their individuality. This freedom to be themselves shapes their habits in unique and interesting ways. However, it's important to remember that these are broad generalizations, and there's always room for individual differences. After all, Europe is a melting pot of cultures, languages, and traditions. Each boy, in every corner of this vast continent, has his own unique set of habits and lifestyle. Now that we've seen Europe, it's time to wrap up our global tour. So, what have we learned from our global tour? Well, we've traveled a long way exploring the habits of young males across the globe. It's been a fascinating journey, unveiling the commonalities and differences in the ways boys from different cultures approach a universal aspect of human behavior: masturbation. Starting off in America, we found that boys there are open and candid about this topic. It's often seen as a normal part of growing up, and discussions around it are often fostered within the safe and informative confines of sex education classes. This openness, though surprising to some, is an important step towards combating misinformation and promoting a healthy understanding of one's body. Next, we ventured into Asia. Here, the approach varies widely due to the diversity of cultures. In some societies, this topic remains a taboo, rarely discussed openly. Boys often resort to peer groups or the internet to gather information, which can sometimes lead to misconceptions. However, in more progressive areas, there's a growing trend towards open discussions, challenging the traditional norms. Our journey then took us to Europe, where we found a balanced approach. While the topic isn't necessarily a dinner table discussion, it's not shrouded in secrecy either. Education systems often provide necessary information, resulting in a well-informed and mature understanding among boys. The most surprising finding? Despite cultural differences, the act itself is universal and widespread. This underlines that it is a natural part of human behavior, irrespective of one's geographical location or cultural background. In conclusion, the habits of boys from different countries are shaped by cultural norms, societal expectations, and the level of openness in discussing such topics. It's important to remember that these habits are a part of a larger cultural context, and they contribute to our understanding of diverse societies. Remember, habits can tell a lot about a person and their culture. So next time you meet someone from a different country, try to understand their habits. It might just bring you closer.